One question I've been getting asked a lot lately is how to use a CRM alongside Kitchen if they both have a client portal and you just don't want to use the one in your CRM like me. With Dubsados, as you know, if you've been around my channel and been watching some of my videos, I am not a fan of their client portal and I love Kitchen's portal software. So today I'm going to show you how I connect the two dots. Not that it's at all required. I do have this video, so if you haven't watched this one, make sure you go check that out. It is a manual process. It is still very fast, but you can also automate it if you want. And today I'm going to show you how to automate it. If you stick around, I'm going to show you where you can go to get the free copy of the Zap template so you can get started without having to build it from scratch. Before I get too far into this, if we haven't met before, my name is Caitlin. I run Launch the Damn Thing. I'm an educator and designer. I've been a graphic designer for about 20 years. I've got a lot of knowledge. I like to learn about efficiency and productivity type things, and that is why I am doing this video today. Before I dive into the actual tutorial, because I am going to walk you through this step by step, I just want to start by saying this Zap template that I'm sharing today, you can use on the free plan of Zapier. On the free plan of Zapier, you can only have one trigger and one action, and that's it. If this happens, do that. You don't need a paid plan. You only need a paid plan of Zapier if you have a multi-step Zap. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. The caveat will be that whatever you choose as your trigger, there's no way to filter how often that action happens. So if you don't always want it to happen, then you have to be on a paid plan in order to do that. And of course, you can delete anything that is created that you don't actually want it to keep. Not a deal breaker. What you'll need is a CRM. Any CRM will do. I use Dubsado. You can use HoneyBook, Bonsai, Bloom, Indie, Moxie, whatever. And you'll also need a Kitchen account. Free or paid doesn't matter. And you'll also need a free or paid plan of Zapier. Those three things, that's what we're going to be using today. And in a minute, I'll show you all of the triggers and all of the actions that are available to use in Zapier. So you can choose which one you already like. If you haven't chosen one yet, you can choose one based on how many Zaps are available in that app. Whatever you want to do. As far as choosing the trigger, and I'll explain this in a minute a little further, but the trigger that I suggest you use is something that happens only one time during a project. For most of you, that's going to be a contract signature. If you base it on filling out an inquiry form, or if you base it on completing a proposal, if you base it on making a payment on the project, those things happen a lot more frequently. And potentially you're going to have a lot of Zaps running, a lot of actions running basically. And that may not be what you want because you'll have a lot of extra folders in Kitchen. Things could get messy. Let's just say that. What I would do is pick something that only happens once, like a contract signature. For example, that works whether you're doing a 2-week process, 2-week timeline on your custom website. It also works if you have one contract signature that applies to an entire year of website design retainer services. They might make a payment every month or every week or whatever you decide, but they only sign a contract for the duration of the agreement. That's why I say, I think that's going to be your best bet. All of the CRMs that I'm showing you today in Zapier do have that as an option. If you want to dive in further than that, then I actually have a copy of my Zap template with the filters in it, the multiple other steps. Those are actually in my Ultimate Client Portal System course. If you enroll in that, you'll also get the Zap along with all of the other really cool shit that's in there. So anyway, if you want to dive a little bit further, you can start with the free Zap, but then if you want to upgrade, you can actually grab the full template with the other steps in my course. And I'll put the link for that below. So first we want to start with my free Zap. It is going to help you connect Dubsado to Kitchen, but I'm going to show you here in a second. You can actually sub in Dubsado with something else if that's not what you use. So for example, if we go to zapier.com/apps, you're going to be able to search for whatever app you're using. So if we open Dubsado's page, if you scroll down near the bottom on a lot of these, look for supported triggers and actions. That's going to give you a filtered list. Look for your triggers. This is going to be the thing that kicks off the Zap and starts the automation. And what you're looking for is something that's related to the process that is part of your booking system. In other words, in Dubsado, usually the project isn't booked officially until they've signed their contract and paid the first payment. On a free plan of Zapier, you're only going to have 2 steps. You need 1 trigger from Dubsado and you need 1 action in Kitchen. So look for whatever is the middle or last step of the process, a contract signature or a new payment received. I don't think I would use that one in a 2-step Zap for a free plan, just because you're potentially going to have payments related to payment plans, payment schedules. Contract signatures usually only happen once per booked project. But on the Kitchen side, if we open that up, you can see there's a long list of actions here. They've just added another 40 of them as of spring 2025. What we're looking for in Kitchen is create a folder, and we'll do that with a template when we get into the Zap. But let me backtrack just a minute. The Kitchen actions list is long, but since the most important part is what triggers it, if you're not using Dubsado, let's look at some of the other Zap triggers for other apps, like HoneyBook, for example. If you click on triggers here, you'll see that they do have new project booked, which is what I'm assuming you would need. It says triggers when a project is booked, which means an agreement is signed or a retainer is paid. So that would be your option for HoneyBook. With Bonsai, you have the option of contract signature, which is probably what you would need, or proposal accepted if you don't have contracts. Invoice paid, I don't think, again, I would rely on, just because that part of the process can happen independently a lot of times. For example, what if you have the client sign an agreement that lasts for an entire year of website related maintenance services? Each time they make a payment for that service is happening separately than the one-time contract. So you still probably want the contract to be the trigger, because you don't want to create a new folder every time they make a payment every month in that scenario. In Moxie, you have a lot of Zaps, so way more than anything else I've seen, but you do have the option to trigger it based on an agreement that's signed, along with a lot of other options. So if you find something else that would be more beneficial for you, then you can test using that instead. For Bloom, another CRM, you have contract is countersigned or contract is signed. So there's 2 different options there. And for Indie, you have contract signed, and that might be what I would choose for this one too. Let's go back to the shared Zap as part of the thank you for watching. If you watch all the way to the end, I'm going to give you a link where you can get the free Zap. But this is actually included in my course. If you're diving into Kitchen and you think it's awesome, not only does my course teach you how to use the software, the tool, but it also gives you a lot of my system, copy paste word for word. So if we go to the Zap where we share the template, you will open this up. You'll click try this Zap. It'll take you into edit mode for that Zap. If you're using something other than Dubsado, what you'll do is you'll click here, and under setup, you'll choose change. So you'll look for a different app from this window and plug it in, but I'm not going to walk you through that because I don't use any of those other ones. So Dubsado is what's chosen. Contract signed will already be chosen. You'll just have to log in and set up your Dubsado account with Zapier so that you can connect your specific Dubsado account to this Zap. So then once that's done, you'll go over to test. You'll test the trigger. It'll tell you whether or not you did set it up correctly. You're looking for the green check mark. And then you're going to have a few records pulled in from things that have happened recently in your Dubsado account, and that's going to be your test. So click on one of these items. And then in one of these items, if you scroll down and look for an email address, you can actually edit the email address. So let's click on the email and let's use my test email. Launch the damn thing. Okay. And then we're going to keep that modified record selected. So it's going to pretend like it's that client, but it's actually going to send anything to me. So I'm going to continue with selected record. And now it's going to go into Kitchen. If you are not using Kitchen, but I don't know why you're watching this video, but you can change out the app here if you want to. you want to create a new folder. So that's already going to be selected. You just choose your kitchen account. They just released a new version of their API. So you want the latest. I think it's V3 as of recording, but you might have to double check. So we're going to do create a new folder and then under configure. So continue. Only the values with an asterisk that's red is going to be required. So under template, it's not a required field, but if you fill it, you can choose what template in Kitchen you want to use to create this new folder. The action is not going to be labeled create new folder from template. It's just going to say create a folder. And then when you set that up, you can dictate what the template is that it's using. So here, because I'm going to be testing using the website client system, I'm going to click the 2-week website template type, and then I'm going to name it. And I'm going to press / so that I can pull up information from the Dubsado information that we collect in step 1 when it was triggered. So who signed the contract? That's where we pull in the name. If you just want to use the project title, just click that and it's going to give the new folder name in Kitchen the name of the project. But if you also want to add their actual name or their business name, for example, let's see if we can search for, I think it's company. Yeah, client company name. So if you do client company name, it'll actually name the folder in Kitchen the name of your client's business, if that's something that you actually collected when they filled out forms. If you don't want to name the folder based on the client's company name, if you want to use like their actual name, just remove that field and then do / and then select this option, client first name, whatever it lists as that, and then actually write a space. Notice what I did with my keyboard. I just literally typed a space with the space bar, and then I'm going to add client last name. So what it's going to fill in is the variable for their first name, space, the variable for the last name, and when you see it in Kitchen, it will actually list it as first name, last name in the format you would expect. If we scroll through the rest of this, I'm not going to change any of that. And then if I hit continue, and then test, it's going to actually use that information in Dubsado to create a new folder in Kitchen for me, assuming we set it up correctly. Okay, so I got the green check mark. Now let's go over to Kitchen and there we go. And I also have 9 notifications because it added new tasks to that task board. So if we open up that board, we're going to see the task template with all 96 cards, the messenger, the content guide, the project folder with all the subfolders inside. And on the tasks, we have all of the task templates. This is the reason I have 9 notifications because I've been assigned to all of my own tasks already. So at this point, all I need to do is go to the top level folder, click on share, and then invite the client. Now, they've changed their permissions a little bit. So if I invite the client this way, we have creator, uploader, commenter, and viewer. Viewer is literally what it sounds like. They can only see what's inside their project folder. If we give them comment access, that means they can see everything and they can comment on stuff. If we give them uploader access, they can see everything, they can comment on everything, and they can also upload files. And if we give them creator access, they can create and manage their own stuff in addition to all the others. So if we add them as let's give them a uploader and save. Now just to double check that they are in fact on this project. So if we go to access, we can double check that they have creator status. This is different slightly probably on the task board than on the actual folder level for everything inside the whole project folder. You might want to make sure they have creator status for the task board specifically if you want them to also be able to create their own tasks. For example, during a support period, they can submit tickets that way. If you don't have a form, they can just literally add tasks to a column or status. But if you don't want them to do that, then give them commenter. That will let them comment on tasks, but they can't edit the task. They can't create their own tasks. If you give them full creator status, they can create and manage everything. They can manage tasks you create and tasks they create. You probably don't want to do that in most cases. So creator or commenter is what I would usually go with. Commenter will let them engage, but they can't create new tasks. Creator can create new tasks and engage. Now we have the project folder, we have all the content, and now all you have to do is send their onboarding invitation. And what I like to do, share. And if I click that, I can resend the invitation. I can type up a message. Whatever that message says will show up in their inbox, along with a view folder button that is sort of a magic link that will allow them to hop inside the project without needing a password. That's all good. That's all easy. But that only happens once when you actually invite the client. So after that, I also like to hop into Messenger, and I like to open my saved replies and pop in my onboarding message, which I have pre-typed out. And I just edit that. So I will link the tasks stuff to their actual tasks. So I grab the copy link here and put in that link. So they have a direct access point to these places in their specific project folder. So they don't have to look around for it, and they can get that right from their email inbox. And if you want to know more about this process, I do have a manual project folder setup video. Go check that out next. You can put in their name up here, and then you've linked these 3 things. These are just reminders for how to use the portal. If you want to add anything else, for example, the link to the portal guide video, which is just an embed video here, you can link that. There we go. And we can hit send. And what that does is it will send an email to that person with this message content, but it keeps the original in this thread. So they can reply to it from their email, but it'll still show up in here. And that's it. Like I said, if you want the full Zap, I do have that in my course. They are just in here. You can copy the whole Zap to your account and then recreate it with whatever tool that you prefer to use. And that will get you started a little bit more quickly. Or you can watch this video next and it will walk you through the process of manually creating the folder yourself if you're not using any Zaps at all. So I hope that was helpful for you. I'm super excited to be able to share that. It's been waiting for a long time. They didn't actually add that new create folder from template option until very recently. So this is going to be one of the first, if not the only video that teaches you how to do this, which I'm pretty excited about. Kitchen's doing a lot of really fun things, and it's a game changer in managing projects. So I really hope you try it out. If you haven't tried Kitchen yet, you're thinking about it, see if it'll work for you. Use the link below. I'm going to pop it right here on the screen, but you can also click it from the link below and start your free account. They have free plans and paid plans, but their paid plans are lifetime payments, so you don't have to keep paying for it. It's not a subscription. So anyway, if you're going to try Kitchen, you might as well use my link below. I hope you love it as much as I do. That's all I have for you in this video. I'll see you in the next one.